Starting to think about 15 corners of the world, I realized that people's attitude to electronic music, to experimental music, is very intellectual. When I attend a concert of the experimental music, I see people thinking, people first of all trying to perceive it intellectually with the mind, not with the soul or with the emotions. Like usually we would go for the concert, first of all, it's the emotional impression the music makes on us. And I thought, what if to try to make the electronic music less hermetic? What if to open to the audience and to the emotion while we are listening to it? And it was very beginning of thinking about the film, that we would go the way it won't be hermetic. It won't be the way that you feel challenged by the sound. However, the sound is challenging because, of course, we are not used to, as a regular audience, beside the experimental music listeners, we are not too used to this kind of the sound, so it's difficult, it's challenging for us. At the same time, if we give the image which is connected with the sound, if we give the emotion which is connected to the artist, to the creator of this music, and which is emotion which is inside the image, we can provide this kind of experience that even someone who is not necessarily a fan of experimental music can follow the film, I guess, and this is what we would like to give to our audience, and could think about that it's in fact very, very strange that we are so close for this kind of audio experience, and we keep it out of our tradition of listening and of our musical education as well.
Talking about the visual side of the film, we shot it on 16 millimeters. It means that quite a while before, I had to do my preparation and also to search. So I read Rudnik notes, but I didn't only read it, but I also tried to see it as a visual material, the paper, the handwriting, the drawings, right? Then all this time we have a discussion together with Zuza what it means. Besides, we had a digital camera at home at that time, and after I listened to the music, I took the camera and just went out and started to search. I started to look for combinations. While I still hear the music in my head, I was going to places that I have been already, because I think that every one of us, or every cinematographer at least, will try to go to places which he already knows. And first, look there. Whether something there might be connected. So I took the digital camera, a stative, and I just went to do some shots. I came back, we downloaded the material to the computer, and we analyzed it. We also did different experiments of putting music and doing a little bit montage with these materials to see if the idea works, because basically everyone can say, hey, this is experimental music, this is personal, so basically every image can be there, but it's not exactly true, because the coherency of the image comes not only from the image itself, but also from what you put before, what you put after, what sequence you make. So while preparing the film, while thinking about what we're gonna film in the end, we already had to have a kind of sequences in our heads, right? And we gave different part of the film different, how to say, keywords. There was a scene which called I Was Lighting, which we took from the interview of Rudnik. He said before, while interviewing him, with my music, I was lighting the scene. I was lighting the film. I was giving the enlightenment. And we sat together and said, okay, what it will be this lighting. Zuza had the propositions, I had propositions. We put it together in a simple editing, let's say cut-to-cut editing, and we watch if this scene works. Then we move to another one, and then we start to compare one scene to another, and also every scene, every piece to the whole film, the whole idea. So it was a long road, and in this road we tried to stay close to the music, stay close to what Rudnik said. From one side we tried to interpret his words to a very concrete and very specific visual idea, and at the other places we tried to make it more open, to make it more influenced by us. But in the end, to summarize it, it's a very subjective, right? So we dealt on the border between the subjective and the objective. So if I can somehow,
When we think about experimental music, very often we think straight electronic music. It's very close to each other. But the truth is that in the beginning, and also now, also today, a lot of musicians, a lot of artists deal not only with the stricter electronic sound, which means a sound generated by the machine, but also they deal a lot with the concrete sounds, which could be industrial landscape, like all these concrete sounds, like for example, we have for the tram, for the car, for the machine sound, but recorded. But also we can have concrete sound, which is human voice, which is animal's voice, which is all kind of organic sound. And what is very interesting about Eugeniusz Rudnik, that he did kind of the evolution in his art, and this evolution is mirrored in our film. Then when we start with the first association in this visual side, we start from the cosmic associations, like most of us would see experimental or electronic music, so we have the spaceship and being on the other planet, and then we go through industrial landscape when we deal with this association, with this concrete sound landscape, and industrial, very geometrical as well. And then slowly we move more to the organic kind of sound and also organic image. So we go to the nature, we show things which not only come from the nature, but they are also not geometrical anymore. They do not have the straight lines anymore. They start to be more undefined. And then we come to the human body and the human voice itself, and we come to something which we call audio kiss, because it's like, it was for me very interesting from the very beginning. I always thought, why people kiss each other with mouth? Why they don't kiss each other with the ear? I mean, it can be pleasure also to put ear to ear, because then the sound change and you can hear the heartbeat. You should try. I mean, this is my social attitude to 15 corners of the world, that everyone would try how it is to kiss with your ear, not with your mouth as well. So yes, and this is the evolution the film makes, but also was for me the starting point for making a film about experimental music when I met Eugeniusz Rudnik. And in the very first conversation, he said to me that with this kind of music, which sounds really like all this kind of stuff which we usually think, that he wanted to move the audience, the listener, that he wanted to talk to her imagination, and to move listener emotionally, not only into intellectual and conceptual way.